Hi, this is Jeff Curto, and welcome to episode number 110 of Camera Position, the podcast about the creative side of photography. This episode is the fifth and final installment of my conversation with the great photo educator, photo consultant, Mary Virginia Swanson. And in this episode, we talk about the importance or relative importance of story. Narrative in photography. I hope you've enjoyed these conversations with her, and we'll return to sort of regular Camera Position programming in the next episode. Until then, here we are with Mary Virginia Swanson. How important is story? How important is, you just said the word narrative.
Mm-hmm.
How important is narrative in most, all, some photographic work?
I'm drawn to it. I'm partial to it. I look for it. I learn from it. Is it essential? No. The work that you and I both saw today, the work in progress, the abstract work, I didn't need more than one of those to be satisfied and curious and intrigued.
You didn't need more than one to make you want to look at another one? Or you didn't need more than one ever?
It was a completely satisfying experience to see one. When I showed some examples of wall installations in my lecture last night, I showed Todd Heido's installation of his work from the book, House Hunting, the complete book. I showed you a group of images of John Woods from an exhibition in New York this fall. Those suites of images, in a sense, and the narrative that's implied on that wall had such a different power over me than one of those images all by itself. And I feel like I can enter that artist's world in a richer way, in some sense, than one at a time or one page at a time. And I think for Todd, I've had the good fortune of being with him at two installations recently. And House Hunting at Pier 24 literally was the entire project on the wall, at his design, in two walls chosen for that I shared in the lecture. At the Stephen Wirtz Gallery, there were new works on the wall, and it was as intriguing an installation with as curious positionings of what one would call landscape, what one would call portraiture, intermixed. And I asked him if, in fact, he was using the wall as a sort of pre-visualization of what it might be as a book. You know, is in his mind are the wall and the consecutive pages in a book feeding off each other.
Similar in some way.
Yeah, and for him they are. And I've always been a huge fan of how people sequence a book, how you take us on your journey in the printed page in a bound book. I love when I now see books kind of unfold, and there were some slides from the New York Art Book Fair that I shared with students last night of books that did other things, or an envelope tipped in with something in that envelope, and all those things. But I have to say I'm even more excited about people taking the wall to another place now. You know, we have always had the Victorian salon style, but to take a group of images that have a story to tell and display them on the wall in an interesting and curious way is an even stronger story to me. Kind of counter to a lot of what I feel about wanting the work to not be at a destination that one must go to experience. And there, of course, we fall back on the websites for galleries and museums and public collections so that we can see it again, which, by the way, Pier 24 has their back installation views, readily accessible. But that's really exciting to me.
That is exciting.
Yeah. So it's a challenge for people. A number of the students I met with today had made print-on-demand books, and they wanted to show me the book software.
Oh, they showed you the book.
On
They didn't
computer.
show you the physical book.
Yeah,
They
some-
showed you the.
Yes, some did show me the physical book, and some showed me the book in its
Oh,
various
that's
configurations.
Really, that's really interesting.
But the first person wanted to show me the book, and they pulled out their computer, which was a big surprise to me. And I opened it up, and sure enough, as is almost always the case, every single space in the template that said picture here had a picture there. No blank pages, no time to breathe, nothing out of the ordinary, but picture here, left, right, left, right, left, right, which to me it's really challenging to make that satisfying without some choreography, if you will.
Choreography is good. We, depending on what their impetus was to do that, there's a class that I teach where we do a book project and use your book on books as a resource. But we spend a lot of time. We spend more time actually looking at how books are made, not physically made, but what goes into a book, what's in it. What are books supposed to be like? What would you like your book to be like before they even get to software, or even considering the content of what the book, what are books about? What do they do? So hopefully not too many of those people who had no breathing space in the book were by people from that class, because we do spend a lot of time talking about how important that is to be able to assemble it in that way and think about what the viewer's experience is going to be like. There is that temptation that I'm paying my $29.95 and by God I'm going to use every square inch of the page, but the students who generally are most pleased with what they do are the ones who really think through that process and actually make a dummy, which I have them do. Some of them do that part of the assignment, some of them blow it off, but
I'd encourage you to go to the Photobook Dummy competition website.
Oh, that's a great idea. I hadn't thought about that.
They have 5 years of finalists online. It's fantastic. And the Indie Photobook Library, which I mentioned in my lecture last night, they've just accepted their 500th title. And the language of describing the book object alone is fascinating.
That's great.
Yeah, your students will benefit from that.
Well, thanks for spending some time
It's
here
been a
this afternoon
pleasure
talking.
to be at the College of DuPage.
Yay. We'll have you back.
I hope so.
God willing, the creek don't rise. Thanks.
Count on it. Bye.